So this is Bechtel, 20 Bechtel Street. This was actually held for over 20 years by a couple of the real estate agents in Waterloo region. They listed it on the market. It's a fiveplex, legal non-conforming fiveplex, $1,050,000, ended up selling for $1,105,000 in 7 days. This right here, classic 2-story downtown Kitchener, great neighborhood. Look at that side yard. Look at that double garage.
Wow.
And then up here, guys, that's the 1-bedroom. Beautiful. So we got a storage shed we can keep for now. We can rent these out. We got parking for 6 in a downtown Kitchener location. This is a great project for, people that are maybe, have a couple investment properties under their belt or looking to take on, something maybe in a little bit more an intermediate level.
Hey everybody, it's Kory MacKinnon. I'm a real estate investor and coach as well. I help people go from beginner to intermediate. And today I'm taking over the channel because Matt McKeever is up at the Citadel and their internet is not as strong as they want it to be. And it just gives a new face to the channel, new set of eyes and perspective on all of our updates here. And today, really blessed to have Zack giving us the update as usual on KW. He's got some awesome stats as usual, as well as like some projects that he's been working on, and I guess they're probably already sold, and then just things coming up for the future. So make sure you watch right to the end of the video so that you get all the juice and all the nuggets here. So Zack, thanks for spending some time with us here, and ready to let you chat a little bit more about what's going on in the area.
Awesome. Yeah, great to have you on the channel, Kory. Today, we're going to go through, an update on the Waterloo region. We're also going to be talking about a project that we previewed on the previous video with Matt. We discussed a duplex conversion project. We had a few listeners actually reach out and come to an open house. We went through the entire project, what we liked about it, what we didn't, items that we really wanted to focus on, and a lot of topics that have been really not necessarily super important, but a lot more popular in the Waterloo region in the last little bit. So we'll go through all the numbers on that flip. There's a few on-market deals we're going to talk about, a Kitchener fourplex right downtown that we're closing on, and then we'll just preview. We won't give away too many of the goodies, but we're going to be doing some videos on site on some projects for anybody looking to see exactly what we're working on and the types of properties that we're investing in right here in Waterloo region. So without further ado, we'll go into October real quick, Kory. For anybody that needs updated stats, November, by the time the video's out here, November's pretty much on its way out. But a lot of the stuff that happened in October is pretty much mirrored here in November. They've been very similar months in terms of activity, volume, sales prices. We'll go over prices, some key factors, seasonal trends, and then investor demand. So, Kory, I don't know if you've seen anything, but recently there's been a lot of reports. I mean, real estate has been a hot topic for many years now, especially in Southern Ontario, but a lot more reports coming out, economists, big bank guys saying, investor demand is really driving up prices. First-time buyer demand really driving up prices, especially in, more affordable markets. But we've seen a lot more action right here in Waterloo region for investors, a lot more volume of investors bringing offers on properties, and a lot more investor dollars just coming our way, whether it's pre-construction homes, condo developments, infills, and then everything else. So if you guys have been watching the news, that's happening. We are seeing a lot more investor action, a lot more investor demand in our market. So if there's other investors on the channel that are seeing the same things or are starting to do research on the market, we'll go over the stats at a kind of a high level, just the intro stuff that you'll need to know, more in-depth stuff. There's lots of links online. You can reach out to anybody on the channel and we can hook you guys up. So
it's a great place to live, great place to invest in. And, people want to invest in their backyard, they can. They may just have to pivot to some different strategies, but, the numbers still work in the area. If, I've got some friends of mine and some students that are doing conversions, and they're just, doing Airbnb in the basement, and it's bringing in killer money. So
yeah, I think you touched on a really good point, Kory, especially because the traditional, let's say newer to mid-level investor was really doing well on smaller stuff like maybe a duplex conversion or a lower unit BRRRR or even single family flips. Our market is just increasing quite aggressively that I touched on last video. But one thing we really want to focus on, especially for the investors in the channel, that there's still room for investors in our market, in any market. But I think what you just mentioned, maybe Airbnb as opposed to getting a long-term lease. You really have to not necessarily get super creative. We're not reinventing the wheel, but you may have to look at other avenues to make your investments as profitable or as comparable as you need them to be in our market. So we'll touch the basics. Last video was just as much directed towards anybody needing information on the Waterloo region real estate, a little bit more directed to the investors. And this video will be a lot more detailed on, the investors for the, a little bit beginner and intermediate level stuff. So average prices, guys, they took a jump up. I believe as of now, average price of a detached in Waterloo region is over $1 million. Official November stats aren't in, but a lot of agents and investors, especially on social media, are releasing videos touching on this topic. In the next one, this is just the price growth for October, month over month. So detached prices end of October, just under $1 million. Semis, just 7.25. Townhouses, almost 700. And then you see condo prices took a dive down 7% in a month, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you're seeing multi-% changes in a month. That's been more common in Southern Ontario for the last few years, but traditionally those are big changes one way or another, month to month, right?
Yeah, and we're seeing like similar numbers in different markets like Milton and GTA, where townhouses seem to be like the most desirable class that got a little bit of a bump, or was just like the highest percentage increase over the different ones, right? So maybe people are just really like, I just want something that's not in a high rise. Give me even a little bit of a backyard, something that's not as expensive as a detached. And there you go.
And I think that also fits into the trend of what builders and developers are doing,
yes.
Right? They can put more townhouses on the same amount of land than they can detached. And the convergence of price, the difference in price between a detached and say a townhouse, or a townhouse and a semi-detached, those prices are getting closer and closer. As people get priced out of a detached market, they move to semis, to townhouse, and then to condo. And so those price gaps are going to converge a little bit as people get priced out of markets, or as people have the desire for those freehold properties. One thing I did want to mention, Kory, and obviously you're fairly familiar with the Waterloo region to some extent, is the condo market. Seeing a dip in a month of the condo market, typically that may be sign for, there may be an issue there, or is demand for condos going down. I just want to remind people that the condo market in Waterloo region is fairly small and fairly new in terms of the volume of new developments that are coming. So, just a side little personal note, there's a Mount Trashmore or McLennan Park in Kitchener. Locals know it as Mount Trashmore, but McLennan Park in Kitchener, I go for walks there every now and then because you can see a big landscape of the city, and the amount of cranes that you see in Waterloo and Kitchener is, before you used to see a couple every now and then, maybe working on the hospital or a big office building or whatever, but now a lot of condo developments are coming. So it's not uncommon to see much more dramatic swings in the condo market, say because a new release of a brand new massive multi-hundred unit building has just been released, and those numbers may skew the market one way or another, right? A large volume of sales will come out in a month or two span for a brand new building that's in a nice area that's at a higher price point, average price point jump up, and vice versa. There isn't a ton of brand new units, so the price point is the resale market, which would sell a little bit lower maybe, so the prices may look down. I just caution investors to look at long-term trends. Important to know what's going on currently, but also it's just used to give context for long-term trends that are going to either improve or discourage you from investing in a specific area or type of property. And I would assume that that's something that a lot of investors and people watching this channel know, but just good to reiterate. Short-term, good to know, gives you perspective, but always we want to be focusing on the long-term as investors.
Yeah, if you see cranes everywhere, I mean, this is what it was like in downtown Toronto like 20, 25 years ago. You used to be able to see a lot more of the waterfront. Now it's like condos are everywhere. And even Ottawa, maybe not that long ago, but more like 10, 15 years ago. So it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen to that Mount Trashmore area.
Really curious to see what happens to Trashmore. But,
yeah, like once all these new ones come up, right? And like you got people paying a good price to be there. And
A lot of it's the intensification of the downtown and the main transit corridors between uptown, downtown, and the highways. We touched on that briefly. Again, if anybody's looking for something to, other investors or people on the channel are looking for something to check out, look at the Ion. The Ion's a light rail transit. If you guys haven't seen it, been in the news for a while for locals here. But as an investor, or as maybe somebody looking to purchase a property, in a nice area to live in their own, being around a transit hub like that is typically good for value. So just a little tidbit for people that are interested in looking into it. Take a look at the Ion Rail. Take a look at the 5-year, the 10-year, and the 20-year plan for Waterloo Region and their transit. It could be a good indication of some areas that they may want to take a peek at, right?
Love it, man.
Yes. So again, we'll go through this real quick, Kory. And guys, of course, you can always pause the video, but if you want the stats, feel free to reach out. Obviously, anybody on the channel can get you guys connected. And these are things that we look at regularly for ourselves, for our clients, and obviously to share on the channel. But volume was up in October. Typically, September and October are pretty comparable, but almost 100 extra units are selling in October. And then you typically kind of see it go the other way almost. I think September was a little slow this year. We touched on the previous video, COVID shutdowns, maybe shifting seasonal trends one way or another, a month or two. Again, that's me speculating, but we saw it in the summer. The summer was very slow because people were finally able to go out and do things. And they're like, screw it. I'm not going to push that. I'll push that move a month or two because I can go take my kids and go camping or go on a vacation or see our family. They're going to do that instead of putting their home up on the market. They'll wait a month or two. And that's something we experienced with some, of our mom and pop and typical buyer and sellers. But overall, less volume volume up in October. We would expect that to decrease coming into November. Average days on market is still low. So Kory, I don't know, in the markets that you're more heavily involved in, days on market, even days on market below 21 days, 3 weeks is typically considered quite low, but you're about a week and a half.
Oh, this is crazy. It's like, very similar numbers in different markets. Like we were seeing like 8 to 13 days on market in a lot of the, Horseshoe, Milton, GTA type markets as well. So
yeah. So you gotta be quick. Quick.
I think people just, don't realize how quick they have to be. Like literally it hits, you better see this thing on like the first day of showings and get your offer in, make it as clean and as strong as possible, or else like you've missed the boat.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't sell, there's probably a reason why it's not selling.
Absolutely. And so just to take it a step further on the days to sell, the average days on market here, assume that it's going to be closer to 2 to 3 weeks for a condo. Say a week to list, another day to take offers, and then maybe a 5-day conditional period to review your status or whatever it's going to be. A lot of condos are selling firm, no status certificate review. Listing agents are providing status certificates up front. Oh yeah. So not that I recommend that, but again, that's what we're seeing in our market just because of how aggressive it's been. But I think speed to lead, a lot of investors, a lot of people in the business, they understand. Especially all of our listeners and watchers in sales, speed to lead is a real thing, and that is including with deals. So detached properties, freehold properties will typically sell less than 10 days, right? And then right underneath that, guys, look at the inventory. Inventory below a month of inventory for 12 straight months. So if you guys know that that indicates a seller's market, a strong seller's market for an extended period of time, further reinforces price growth. And competition amongst buyers. So if you guys have any questions on buyers markets, sellers markets, and balanced markets, there's lots of resources. But if we're under 4 months of inventory, especially, like that's considered a seller's market. If we're below 2 months of inventory, that's a strong seller's market. And then a list to sale price ratio. This is more for people that are trying to do research maybe on our market or others, to figure out, you guys are probably looking at lots of listings online to figure out, okay, well, it's listed at 500K. What is it actually going to sell for? The list to sale price ratio is the difference between what the seller was asking for and what they actually sold the home for. So we look at general averages, and then we look at averages for the types of properties that we typically are looking at for us and our clients. The average market wide is around, 114% to 117%, depending on the month. So just for you guys watching out there, if you're looking at a freehold property, especially, assume that it's selling minimum 10% above the asking price. Maybe for people that aren't as experienced in investing or in real estate, Kory, just note that in a lot of markets in Southern Ontario, this is a tool that listing agents, I'm a listing agent, I sell properties as well. That's a tool that we use to market the property. And it's also part of the overall psychology of buyers, of the strategy that buyers and sellers are typically using. So half the time you're using it because that's what buyers and sellers expect. And half the time you're using it probably because it's positioning the home to sell for the most money and get multiple offers. A lot of it's into strategy. So just refer to your local agent, refer to, what's typically going on in those types of homes, but knowing your list to sale price ratio, as anybody looking to do research on any market, can give you an indication on what properties should likely be selling for, because that sold data isn't always readily available in markets, right?
Yeah, wow, you guys have a strong, ratio there, because in a lot of the market, it was like 105 to 108. And again, this is something that you need to know. You need to be in touch with people like Zack who are tracking this granular data, because if you're going into battle without a great plan, you won't know how much over asking to offer. And it's definitely a stat you should track, because a lot of listings are being listed low, and you got to like project what they probably want for it and then what they really want for it if you go into multiples. So.
And what do you do, Kory, when before you bring an offer, if you're not sure what it should sell for? We are reviewing comparable sales. Yes. What other data, the more information you have, the more accurate and up-to-date information you have, the more educated of decision you can make, and you can be buying and offering with confidence. We are looking at comps, guys. Must.
So important.
So important. Seasonal trends. Can inventory get lower? Typically going into, let's say, November, December, January, inventory will diminish a little bit. Price growth diminishing. Now, about January last year is when we saw a very strange and aggressive bump up in our market. I don't suspect that'll happen again this year. I think people were, feeling the pressure of COVID shutdowns. We had a lot of spillover from the GTA markets. People either priced out of those markets, or they had appreciated enough where they were like, screw it, I want to go buy a house with a backyard. And I get it. I don't think prices will continue to increase as aggressively as they have in the past 6 months. But as long as inventory remains low, expect price growth to remain in some capacity. Over the winter months, traditionally you see longer days on market. So some properties don't move quite as quickly. And then the overall number of homes selling, we would expect to decrease. Less homes, less listings are purchased and sold during the winter months. It is the seasonal trends of real estate in pretty much every market in Canada.
Big time. And if people thought the last couple of years were pretty wild, I think we're still in for a more of a wild ride in 2022 as we see hopefully an open up plan with the province, and we'll see what happens with interest rates. And you still got to be super prepared and have a plan and a strategy and ready to work fast to be able to react and pick up whether it's like for the end user or if it's for like an investor, you got to know what you're going into.
The plan and strategy part, I just really want to highlight that. Super important. Even if it doesn't go according to plan, the fact that you are going to take time as an investor or as a buyer and a seller to sit down and actually consider all the factors that are important. Goal setting, right? It's something we hammer on some of the videos that we've released recently, and that we usually hammer on more specifically with our investor clients, because there's a lot more things at play. But having a plan and a strategy for that is super key. A lot of investors have already just done that or are doing that right now, looking for their 2022 plan. And again, looking at long-term trends is really going to be something that I would consider quite heavily to make sure you know what your short-term and long-term strategy is going to be. This is typically what we see. I think the seasonal trends will start to become a little bit more normal in the sense of, slower throughout November, a little bit slower throughout December and January, and then start to pick up in February. I expect that to follow in some capacity. But again, last year has taught us that you just got to be ready for a little bit of everything. Okay, so this is going to be a little bit more the guts of the presentation, guys. And this is the duplex conversion that we ended up flipping in Kitchener. We had an event about 2 weeks ago. A handful of listeners came by. Awesome to meet you guys. We went through the whole property, what we have to do to legally duplex it, the layouts and designs, why we chose them, general notes on the duplexing process, permitting, inspections, where you can maybe save some money, where you absolutely should not be cutting any corners. And then ultimately the numbers. I know a lot of people that are on this channel are either thinking about or already have properties and considering getting into these types of investments or comparing them to other markets. So we're opening up the doors. We're going to be sharing the numbers on this project. I'm going to go through the before photos right now. And then we'll take you guys through a virtual tour that we got of the property when we listed it, and to walk you through kind of some of the key points that we thought add value, and reasons why we're doing specific things. So this is kind of a perfect example of a super standard duplex conversion in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge. A lot of brick bungalows in, fairly central locations, closer to your downtown, your uptown, your quiet suburbs that were built in the 60s, 70s, maybe the 80s. Like, these are great options for flips, great options for holds. They give you options is really ultimately what they do, which is fantastic as an investor. So for anybody considering getting into these, numbers can be sent to you guys individually. We'll share them all here, but this will be a good overview just of a general project and what to expect. As you can see, Kory, this one was vacant. This is a grandma's house, right? Perfect. Yeah. We love it.
Right at the end of the era when they stopped doing plaster, right? You don't get those rounded archways anymore, those kinds of crown molding and everything else, right? So typical, windows were pretty much all done, but the cosmetics of the home were dated. Perfect. Home's in good condition, not that many owners. This is like just outside of downtown. We'll call it midtown, in between downtown Kitchener and uptown Waterloo. Location. We are walking distance to the Ion, right? Yeah. Come on. I can't pick up a house and move it. Not right now. It's not worth it. So we're steps from the Ion. We're steps from the GO station, the VIA. We're walking distance to Google, Tannery Tech Hub, downtown Kitchener. You can take the bike on the Iron Horse Trail or drive 2 minutes to uptown Waterloo. Perfect. Appeals to so many different people. Great for investors because you can find renters. All right. Inside, again, dated. Little bit dated, okay condition. This right here, guys, is the entrance to the basement. Right to this section right here, we see that's the doorway to the driveway, right? And over here, this leads into the kitchen. Now, at the end of the hallway, you see there's the big cement wall that goes to the middle of the basement. Really common for this era of property. This is carrying a lot of the actual load for the upstairs of the home. But it also really restricts you on your layouts for your basement. So one thing that we did here was we actually cut out right here. We had an engineer out, spec everything, make sure it's good to go. And we cut out right here so that as soon as the basement tenant walks into the property, they walk straight down into their nice open living space. Boom, we're making the layout better. We're improving value by cutting out this little walkway and framing up the other side so that people don't have to walk through a labyrinth of hallways in a basement. So it doesn't feel like a dungeon. It's much more open and bright, more appealing to tenants, equals more rent or higher resale. Perfect, right? And, sounds kind of silly, but like if a tenant wants to move a couch in, like it is much better if you got a straight shot versus, okay, now we got to turn a corner. Am I buying a couch in a box? Like what's going to happen here, right?
Also think about how you're going to get appliances into the basement.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, so what, somebody came in, obviously you guys had to put a lentil in, you guys, cut it out with a cement saw and it was all approved and it's, the load is getting
exactly.
Right now.
So I was considering getting into some of the permitting process. I think that's a little bit more detailed than really the scope of what we're going to cover today. I'll go over some general tips, making sure you have good drawings, making sure they're done right the first time. Maybe I'll just stop right there and just address this point. Making sure that you have either thought about or gone through with somebody who's already done the entire permitting process for the type of project you're going through will save you so much stress, let alone the time and the money. Just the stress alone would be worth doing that exercise with somebody, because changing a permit is a little bit different. And depending on your municipality, ours is mandated to get back to you for a new permit application within 10 days. But revisions, no mandated time frame. So,
ouch.
So if you mess up the permit, you put in your permit application, they say, no problem, you have to make these revisions. I can send them the revisions the next day and they could be perfect, but they don't have to get back to me within 10 days. It could take weeks. And if you guys, any investors out there have experience or are maybe concerned about dealing with permits and dealing with building divisions and inspections, it's not worth it to cut corners. It's not worth it to play games. Yeah, it is a part of the process, but if you do it right, it isn't an issue. So you do your drawings right the first time, no problem.
I tell people it's like throwing away $100 bills every day.
Every day. I got to carry the property longer. It's right. It slows up your contractors. It bumps timelines. It's the worst. So one thing that we just stress is get your permits done right the first time, and it will save you so much stress. So, we have an engineer that specs anything that we need to. That helps forego any discrepancies that maybe an inspector would see, because the engineer is going to override. They stamp it, it's good to go. As long as it's framed in properly or whatever work's done properly, done. So that's something that we utilize as a way to expedite the process, but also make sure that the work's getting done properly.
Love it, man.
Right. So in this clip here, we see, or in this photo here, we see here is where the new door frame is actually going to be put in. Right. And this is a big open rectangle. Right. You can do whatever you want with this layout. There's lots of room, but we want to make sure there's nice light. We want to make sure the layout's modern. And one thing we really focus on is quality of living space necessarily is equally valued, if not more valued, over, let's say, number of bedrooms. I don't want to necessarily squish in a super tiny bedroom in a brand new 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 beautiful renovated space. Somebody's going to walk in there and be like, man, you did this place so beautiful, but you tried to squish in these tiny little bedrooms. Like, I'd rather just have one nice bedroom for me and my girlfriend, or for myself, than, 2 super small bedrooms I can't even fit a double into. So
Right.
just it's circumstantial, Kory. You know that, other investors know that, but I just stress quality of living space is just something that you really need to take a heavy look at when you're preparing for a project.
So what were you able to fit in the basement? A 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom?
A 1-bedroom in the basement, and it's actually right over here. So we've rearranged the mechanical system to put it into a closet right here. You see the ductwork right above. So we just had to move it, maybe about 7 or 8 feet. So we're not redoing all the ductwork. We're not doing all the plumbing lines. We put a little bathroom over here. We finished up this storage space in here, which is the cold room underneath the entrance. So we didn't finish and insulate it and all that, but we painted it. We put in some storage shelves so that the basement unit actually has some storage area. Just a nice little thing so that when they open up the crawl space or the cold room, it's not like, oh, that's a moldy, dingy crawl space. Clean it, fresh coat of paint, some shelves. All of a sudden, this is a useful space. Potential buyers or renters are actually, oh, it's actually nice instead of this dingy, weird little room that we're never going to use. This is the 1-bedroom back here, though. Storage closets right here with all your mechanical systems. And I think we'll pull up the virtual tour right now. So let me just pull up for that for you guys real quick. Bada bing. We're in the upstairs, right? So this is the after, right? We got it all staged up, nice lights, bright colored flooring. We got the click vinyl that's waterproof. So, it's going to be in good condition. It's not going to wear and tear after the first tenants move out, in and out. Got the big window at the front, right? Redid the soffits and the fascia outside because the property is old as heck, right? And in the next slide, we'll touch on some things we really focus on. But as I click through here, I'll point out some key things. So right here, guys, where that photo is, that's where the access point to the basement is, right? Frame it up, make sure you got the right drywall and insulation in there so your fire separation's all ready to go. Perfect. Bonus points if on the other side of it, you put a couple hanging racks and shoe racks, so as soon as tenants walk in, their stuff's right there. So you do a little built-in as you're framing it up. It's cute, looks good, and super practical. Great use of space, right? So over here, little eat-in kitchen. Ooh, we're going to go back here.
I love these virtual tours. When somebody first explained this to me, they're like, it's like Google Street View for the inside of your house. I'm like,
it's amazing. It's amazing. So a lot of investors will know, and even homeowners will know, you can spend a ton of money on a kitchen, but kitchen can also be one of the best ways to get a great ROI in terms of investing in updating your home or an investment property. So one thing that we really focus on in ours is doing our kitchens, fairly nice. This is partly because when we're renovating a property, we're renovating it to keep. Let's build this or reconstruct this or renovate this like we're going to keep it forever. That's the mindset for the layout, for the finishes, for the quality of work we expect. Because at the end of the day, we're investing in these properties because we believe in them. We think they're going to be great long-term investments. And if there's a better short-term opportunity, then maybe we look at that. But first and foremost, is this going to be renovated? Is this going to be built to the quality and the standard that I'm going to want forever?
So you guys do quartz there, Zach? On the
yeah, you got it. So quartz, a little bit more affordable than some custom stone. Nice sugar white, so it's modern. We got the white tile backsplash, stainless steel appliances, crown molding on the cabinets, and go a little bit of the taller cabinets, so they go right up to the top. makes it look a little bit more, a little bit more luxury, a little bit more professional, a little bit more clean, instead of having a gap or a bulkhead with some filler in it, right?
Yes.
And again, we get it all staged up, so it's looking 10 out of 10. We got the sanitizer there. We make sure we're showing the home safe. We're giving people the sanitizer, keep themselves clean. I'm just going to go over to the bathroom real quick here.
Quick tip about granite or granite versus quartz. Granite is a natural stone. Quartz is, man-made. So it's actually better. Germs and bacteria supposedly don't stay on the quartz,
Absolutely.
versus granite.
And for any of you homeowners or investors that have light colored stone countertops and have a stain in it, I got my stone countertop guy told us this Vim product with bleach for the white countertops. Because I remember we had a client years ago be like, I have this stain I can't get rid of. We're trying to sell their house. They were freaking out. And I was like, no, this is the Vim with the bleach in it, guys. Let's go. So, hey, not just investing tips here, Kory, cleaning tips.
That's
there we
right.
go. So again, just back to the bathroom. We'll go through this one quick and then get to the basement. Tile the showers, new tub, cute little vanity with the stone top, new tile down here, right? We're tiling the bathrooms. We typically like to tile entrances if we can as well. If we're having our tile guy on site, give him an extra half a day or a full day's work, and price doesn't necessarily jump dramatically. I don't call him out again. I give him a little bit more work. He's on site. He's making more money too. Win-win. All right. So other than that, bedroom, 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 and right here, laundry. Beautiful.
Yes.
So right here, guys, it's a little tough to see for you guys watching on your phone, but there's in the front foyer, there is, a closet, another closet, and then the entranceway. Typically, we like to open up our layouts, Kory, especially for properties that we're doing everything for. If we're opening it all up, we're doing a lot of drywall and framing work, might as well see we can open it up and make a more modern layout. Gives you more options for design. That's great. But with this one, it just didn't make sense. And we needed a spot for the laundry, right? So laundry in here. And then we got this little panel back in the other bedroom. That's your other electrical panel. Separate the panels on the duplexes, guys. It's worth the investment. Better for resale. Better for you as a hold as well. And it's right by where this actually happened to be just right by where the original panel was in the basement. So pretty easy for our electrician to get it back up there, right?
Yeah, good sized master bedroom from what I see, with a nice large closet, right? So that's going to be a huge selling feature.
Yeah.
If all the bedrooms are small, like you're mentioning in the basement, they're going to be like, where are we going to put the queen or the king size bed? Where's my wife or my girlfriend going to put all of her shoes? Like, these are important things. In the living room, where are we going to put the TV is probably like the biggest decision for people. Like, you got to have your outlets ready for people to mount. And
where does the couch go? Where's the TV going, Kory? And you're getting ahead of me here, but we're going to touch on when you're doing these projects, guys, or when you're investing, think about your end user. If you're thinking about who's going to be renting from this, who am I potentially selling this to? Who would pay the most rent, or who would pay the most purchase price if I'm selling this? And you're constructing your projects to reflect that, not only the options, but the upside will reflect. And that's super important. And again, just considering what your strategy is going in before you execute on it, right? So just to jump to the basement real quick. Again, staircase coming down. This is the opening, and then we go right into the kitchen.
Beautiful.
Right? This is the open space. So little island with an overhang, fully tiled backsplash, chimney style range, stainless steel appliances, stone countertop. We go a little bit overboard on the kitchens, especially for basement units. But again, our end user is a live-in or an investor that's looking for turnkey. And if we're in nice areas, premium locations, and people want turnkey, they're willing to pay a premium for it. And that's how you get a little bit extra juice on the sell side, right?
Yeah,
so over here,
I don't even like to use the word basement. I like to say, like, this is garden suite, right? Like, because if there's enough windows and stuff like that, it doesn't feel like you're totally underground. And you guys have definitely spent the money in the right areas.
Exactly. There's your egress, lots of extra light. Make sure you're meeting your daylighting requirements. Again, we're getting everything staged up in the hallway. There's the utility closet, kitchen over here, bathroom behind you with the new tiled shower, glass shower, because we're thinking young professional that's living or working downtown already, or their office is there, or maybe a commuter because the GO station's right behind here. And then you got the one bedroom over here that's got the panel in here for that unit. Perfect. And behind, they got the closet space. Beautiful, right? So let's go over to just the talking points we already went through. I think just to highlight again, always reno or build to keep. That mindset, at least, not necessarily all your projects. You're not saying I'm doing this to keep it, but the mindset that goes into that, I think, is huge. And I think a lot of newer investors, or a lot of investors that are trying to do too much or make something from nothing, that's where they're going to cut corners. And then just quality of living
future
space.
proof, right? Like you gotta pick finishes that are kind of timeless. They're simple but eloquent. I mean, you can't go wrong with white subway tile. You can't go wrong with shaker kitchen cabinet doors. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
these things they're gonna be still in trend or not at a trend in like 10 or 20 years. So
exactly. And if you're putting it together right and you're not getting the cheapest materials, they should last. Even better. So we're going through the numbers real quick. And a lot of people, I'm going to stop right here, Kory, and just address, you cannot buy properties like this in our market for $600 and $1,000 anymore. We closed on this in February. We'll go through in our next video a very similar project with updated numbers. We just purchased it. We're closing on it next week. We'll go through that so people can see a more updated one. But for the sake of this, I think it's really good to understand what your numbers should typically look like. Your financing costs, your renovation, your carrying costs, your property taxes, your bills, and then your closing, your selling costs. So we picked it up for 601, renos about 125. We have exact numbers, but obviously for the sake of the presentation, 125 renovations. This is everything, right? You're doing everything in these properties. 2 kitchens, 2 new bathrooms, some exterior work maybe for your roof or your windows, soffits and fascia. The only thing we didn't do on this one, I think, was the driveway, because the driveway was already had a double wide space for the basement tenant. Perfect, right? Then next here, so our total, we were totally in for this project for the 793 all in. That's everything, staging, everything, guys. We have a breakdown, so if anybody needs it, feel free to reach out. We'll send you the PDF or the Excel doc. And then we sold it for 888. So we turned a profit, $94,000 flip. Not bad. I will take the $94,000 flips. In our market, most people that are flipping properties or are looking to flip properties, you should be looking at 30 to 50K. 50K is good. 30K is about what you should expect. You're driving that number down by either purchase price, getting a great deal, upswing in market, reduced renovation costs maybe. But typically, 30 to 50K a flip, baby. So I'm happy to take double.
Yeah, I mean, these kinds of numbers will change somebody's life, right? If you can hit even half of these numbers, you do 2 of these in a year, that replaces a lot of income. And there's people that I forget the statistic, but like 60% of people are not happy at their day job. It's probably higher than that.
It probably is.
Go and learn how to do this sort of stuff, right? Go and get to know the Zacks of the world so that you can either learn or buy a property like this from him. Some people like their job and they just want to buy turnkey too, and that's okay as well.
Yeah.
Go keep working your 6+ figure job and just get your money to work and pay it down and let it appreciate and get some cash flow, and
Absolutely. And I think
we can go on for days.
I think, yeah, I agree. And that's a little bit of the coach coming out. And I love that because I think it's so possible. We started doing these a couple of years ago, and ever since we did, you just start to see the opportunity, right? All we see is opportunity now. It's different every time maybe, but opportunity nonetheless. So a $94,000 flip, guys. And these sorts of numbers, the purchase price and the sale price are going to be different, but a lot of those, other carrying costs, your financing costs, those will come up a little bit because the purchase prices are higher and depending on your financing situation. But if I'm making almost 100K a flip, I'm a happy guy. I'll take that right now. So we also just want to highlight real quick, and again, we can send these projections to anybody that wants them, is a hold, right? Like I kind of said multiple times in this presentation already, we want to build or renovate to keep. And a lot of big wealth is generated in holding real estate. A lot of options open up. And honestly, with Southern Ontario markets positioned to succeed and grow as much as they are, we're trying to hold as much as we can as well. Our flips are done in the sense of, okay, well, can I sell the property at a premium now? And do I also have an opportunity to reinvest my proceeds from that project to something else that is either comparable or a little better? If yes, we sell. If no, we hold. So we do our projections based on a 3% appreciation. Our market has appreciated dramatically more than that. But if you guys and investors or newer people that are considering getting into investing in real estate are looking, cash flow is your number one. If you are investing cash flow, I mean, most other investors are going to say this, especially real estate investors. But if I look at the numbers and a 3% appreciation gives me an opportunity to bump my profit and give me more equity, then I'm going to take it every time. So a profit for something like this, if you're going to sell it in 5 years with a 3% appreciation a year, you're looking at over 100% ROI. You're making almost double the profit. Some people may look at this and say, well, why would you take 94K now instead of 200K in 5 years? Well, I'm going to go take that 94,000 and reinvest it into another project, so on and so forth. I need to reinvest my cash to get more, to go acquire either larger projects or more projects. So
you're trading up, and a lot of people don't realize the velocity of money, right? Money needs to keep moving. And if there's, if your equity is stuck in there, it's not just return on investment or ROI, it's going to be return on your equity. And what can your equity do somewhere else, right? So I'm selling off smaller projects right now because I got a bigger 29 unit apartment building I'm going to be, constructing come the spring. So,
need
that money
the cash for that new opportunity.
Yep.
That's awesome. And so just to know for everybody out there, we are looking at the long term as well. This helps us make a decision on how good a deal is selling this at 888 in today's market. If I don't know what this could be in the future, then I can't really put into context how good that deal may actually be for me as an investor. So now I'm going to go through 3 or 4 deals real quick on properties that have recently sold in Waterloo region. So one is great opportunity for newer investors, people that are looking to live lean. They want their first property experience with small renos and experience with dealing with tenants, getting rent, learning the basics by getting in there and doing. You're not buying a turnkey property and a property manager, right? You're getting in and doing some work. Another are a couple multi-unit holds, and then another duplex conversion that we've actually picked up. So let me pull these up, guys. We got our handy dandy matrix system, and we're going to pull up this one right here. So this is Bechtel, 20 Bechtel Street. This was actually held for over 20 years by a couple of the real estate agents in Waterloo region. They listed it on the market. It's a 5-plex, legal non-conforming 5-plex, $1,050,000, ended up selling for $1,105,000 in 7 days, right? This cash flowed as is at this purchase price, a couple $100 a month. And you're thinking, well, why would I pay $1 million, just over $1 million for something that's only cash flowing a couple $100? Well, one, legal, all the units are in great shape, managed professionally by other people in the business. So they've been in business for 20 years. They've held the property forever. So that tells me as an investor that it's probably in good condition. They're probably not cutting a ton of corners. These are professional investors. They're in the business. They're reputable. But also there's upside for rental increase. A few tenants have been here for a long while and a few units have recently turned over. That tells me, okay, well, I'll get decent rents now. Maybe my cap rate's not going to be fantastic, or maybe my cash flow's not going to be great. But for a hands-off long-term hold, we like this one, right?
Yeah, it didn't get crazy overbid either. I mean, $100,000 on a 5-plex,
Not the same case on this one. This is 74 Dixon. This is a legal 6-plex built to be a legal 6-plex, right? Purpose built. Sold in 10 days. It actually sold in it was depending on when they updated the listing, but just under a week or just over a week. Listed for 1.2 million, sold for 1.5. At 1.5, it pretty much broke even with room to grow, but the units were great. You're right by the highway. You're right off King Street, so you can get to downtown Kitchener very easily. Again, fantastic option for somebody that's looking for a long-term, relatively hands-off buy and hold, right? So if there's any investors on the channel, these are a lot of purpose-built brick builds from the 60s, 70s, and 80s in Kitchener. Great neighborhoods, great locations because they're close to major transit hubs. You're close to the major transit hub at the Fairview Park Mall. We like this one. They ended up seeing, I want to say 8 offers. So they got 300 over asking. And you may think, well, holy crap, 300 over asking. When you're looking at this, is about $250 a unit, right? For a resale market with a property that's going to do okay long-term. This one's for some of our newer investor guys. So Kory, this is a 2-story legal duplex downtown Kitchener, 120 plus deep lot in the backyard, shared driveway right here. But this property was listed at just under 598, sold 705, right? Not getting great rents though. So for younger investors or people that are looking to maybe buy their first house, something like this pretty common in our market. What you could do is you could occupy one of the units yourself as your primary residence. You're buying your first property or you're moving into a new city. You can occupy one of the units as a way to have, one, a place to live, and two, to remove a tenant legally and update the unit to satisfy your lifestyle and what your living conditions would like to be. So you have a good location property downtown, brick detached freehold. You have one occupied unit. So you as a younger investor are going to get experience dealing with tenants. You're going to probably spend a little bit of your own time and money and energy in fixing up your own unit, which will only improve the value of the home. And if you decide to stay there long-term, great. If not, you've improved the value. You can, refinance it or rent it out for a higher rate when you're ready to move into a primary residence. We've had a few clients that have purchased existing duplexes or duplex the property as their first home and use that as a way to really accelerate their growth into a primary residence that they want to be at long-term. So fair purchase price at the 705. If you're able to maybe move in there yourself, a good option for people that are willing to live lean, and great option for people looking for lots of different experiences in investing in real estate.
I've told people before this, right? So while maybe one person was splitting hairs over, well, it's a mutual driveway, somebody else went and bought this sort of thing. You lost out. So now you're going to keep losing out on these bidding wars. Meanwhile, the market keeps going up. How many times do you want to get bid out or miss out because you weren't committed to a great house hack or something that, for duplexes, this is still a good, even if it's not a house hack in the area, this is still a very solid price. Looks like they might have even mislisted the, number of one bedroom units. They say there's two, but I think it says that it's 3 bedrooms plus the potential to finish the attic. Okay, cool. So
really common for listing agents to make errors.
Yeah.
It's part of the trade. So
some people might gloss over it, but you got to dig into the weeds.
You do absolutely. So this one right here, we're going to be discussing this one in detail. This is a fourplex downtown Kitchener, listed at the 979, purchased at 965. We got two bedroom units, 2 1-bedroom units. Classic big 2-story, all brick build, right downtown. You are right in the heart of the city. Kicker is 180 plus deep lot. Fantastic. What does that tell us, Kory? Opportunity, baby. Parking, storage, additional units, lots of different stuff we can do. So I like opportunity. This one purchased conditionally.
I remember when the double cohort came out, man, like everybody was blown off the back of their properties in KW, right? So
right. And so we actually purchased this one conditionally. This was myself and my partner. We bought this conditionally and ended up getting under asking price. This is on market, guys. All these deals are on market. So we locked this one up. We're going to be going through a video on this in the coming months, breaking down what we're going to be doing with it. But it cash flows as is. So if we did nothing, we're making money every month on it, and there's short-term and long-term upside. I like big lots downtown. I like cash flowing multi-units. I like opportunity to either park, build, or improve rents. Fantastic.
Yeah, I think so many people think they have to do it now, right? It's like, oh, well, I got this fourplex, I got to go do the addition. It's like, no, you don't. It breaks even, or it makes a little bit of cash flow now.
Is that the best use of your capital?
Yeah, do it anytime in the next 10 years. Like some of my projects have been on hold because I've had 4 kids in 8 years, but they're coming back online now, and I've just been banking on them or sitting on them, and now it's time to pull the trigger.
Absolutely. And it goes into your plan. So this one we're going to be talking about more depth in some future videos, guys. And I know we're going to wrap up here fairly quick. To touch on this, premium location, conditional purchase, 14K under ask, currently positive cash flow with room to improve rents. Yeah, like give me the signs, Kory. I love to see it. Yeah, this is great. And this is just to show, like, look, I know markets are expensive in most Southern Ontario markets, but if you want to invest in real estate, making sure you have a long-term plan and making sure you're buying good deals in today's market that makes sense for your current and your long-term, goals, there is a way, and we're finding deals. So fourplex downtown Kitchener, we're going to be touching on that one in a little more depth in some future videos. We also have a triplex in downtown Kitchener that we're burring, got it vacant earlier this year. You'll love to see it. And then we have a duplex conversion coming up in Kitchener. This is the bread and butter. We've been doing these for years. They're getting very popular. So we're going to be going through in that video some other things we want to start doing with our duplex conversions to make them more profitable and a better investment. Because the reality is I can't keep doing these projects without improving them in some way, shape, or form. This right here, we're going to be talking about in the next video. Classic 2-story downtown Kitchener. Great neighborhood. Look at that side yard. Look at that double garage.
Wow.
And then up here, guys, that's the 1-bedroom. Beautiful. So we got a storage shed we can keep for now. We can rent these out. We got parking for 6 in a downtown Kitchener location. We got the side entrance for the main floor unit and the front door. We got the upstairs unit walks up this staircase, boom, into the 2-bedroom unit right here. And then the bachelor 1-bedroom unit back in there. Fantastic. There was 8 offers on this property and we got it under 900 grand. So we'll be going through some numbers on that. We'll be going through why we're burning it and what we want to do with it long term. This is a great project for people that are maybe have a couple investment properties under their belt or looking to take on something maybe in a little bit of more an intermediate level, a little bit more capital, a lot more renovations, more tenants. But again, all skills that you guys can pick up even by just doing one investment property. If you have a little bit of experience with contractors, you got the right team to help answer your questions for the permits, for the tenants, for the leasing. This is all great experience. And so we'll be sharing more on this project. But I think a common theme for these, Kory, and all the projects we'll be going through, location and purchase price. We make our money on the buy and we're focusing on those premium locations. What areas can we get good value in today's market that will only open up options in the short term and the long term? And that's just something I kind of wanted to leave everybody with for the presentation and for today's video. This one, classic duplex conversion. Me and Peter and the crew are going to be shooting this one next week. This will be an upcoming video. Stone and brick bungalow right by the highway and by the mall. Awesome. We're on board.
Looks like your driveway might already be wide enough. That'd be great.
Oh, also double deep, double wide driveway, Kory. Nothing better than not having to get a fresh driveway cut and poured because it takes them like a day and you got to pay for it. You got to suck it up. But when it's already there, you'll love to see it.
Oh, I mean, we're obviously investors, right? But I'm looking at that going, wow, you just saved yourself $5 to $8 grand. So
I love $5 to $8 grand.
Not more.
Right. So if there's any questions on some of those projects, you guys can leave them in the comments below. And if there's any questions or concerns regarding what's going on in the current market, we're really active in the comments section, and you can contact us in the contact information below and on our website. We had a great response. There's a lot of people that reached out on the last video, which is a lot more general. But moving forward for the people on the channel that are looking for more investor focused, a lot of the videos coming out and a lot of the content is going to be a lot more focused on that. Yes, we still do, your traditional buying, your selling, but a lot of the content is going to be regarding how we're finding value in Waterloo region. Competitive market, growing a lot, still got room to grow, and we're here to share what we're doing to find value.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Cool, guys. So again, great conversation with Zack today, and somebody you can definitely model off of. He's an investor and a realtor, and it just goes to show, like, you got to be fast. Like, in some people's version of fast is not really fast. Like, you got to be hyper fast, very clean, go in, be known as a closer. So again, everybody, lots of gold nuggets here in this presentation today. Thanks for spending almost an hour with us here, Zack. And again, looking forward to seeing the update in the new year. I think we're going to have more of the same here. But again, there will be opportunities over the wintertime for people to find deals. I've been out on the coldest days of the year. I've been out on days where they've literally shut the highway down. I'm like, I will find a way to get to this property because, again, I know that nobody else is going to be looking at this one today.
Fewer people looking. Absolutely, baby.
Putting in offers, right? Be willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, and you'll get the results. So,
couldn't agree more. Thanks so much, Kory. Really appreciate it.
Awesome, everybody. Until next time, keep your assets in real estate, and we will see you next month.
Awesome.